Hey, Vic. Storyline until otherwise proven is getting off to a better start this year. Have you and your staff talked about how to construct training camp to avoid that kind of pitfall?
I wouldn't say we've discussed how to avoid training camp schedule as it relates to that, but we have talked about it. Yes.
Anything specific that you've pointed to?
No, I mean, obviously 2 years ago, we did not play well in the opener. Last year in the opener against a good team, we were right there, could have won that game. So I don't think we played poorly in that game. We just didn't win it. So we just have to play a little bit better and finish the games. The second game last year against Pittsburgh, we had it 3rd and 2 and 4th. We had it in the red zone that, so when those first 2 games, like we played awful, we were against good teams that we didn't quite finish. So it's definitely an emphasis with the team, with the staff. But as it relates to training camp and how we set it up, there won't be major tweaks that way. I mean, training camp will be different this year when you compare it to last year, obviously.
And then one more follow-up for me. Your D-line depth, you had no Mike, no Shelby. Getting a look at some of these guys over the last month, do you feel good that you can get a 2-rotation group going?
Yeah, we'd like to feel that way. I think, Shamar's been a good pickup. We got Mike, Shelby. We think Mike and Shelby will be full go once we get back to camp. Sosa's looked better, and hopefully he'll continue that. Draymond, Jonathan Harris is back after a year on the shelf. Deshaun's back, and we're looking for the other guys to show us something to hopefully punch a ticket to join that group.
Let's go, Eric, then Mike Kliss. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Vic, first one, Tim Patrick, what's his status? Looked like he didn't do much today.
He did practice today. I saw him. He was out there running some routes in some of the plays. Maybe not as many as normal, but I think he's fine overall.
Okay. And then what's your expectation for Drew and Teddy on how they spend these next 4 or 5 weeks to be ready to go for training camp?
To get themselves in the best physical shape they can get themselves in. Obviously they need to be throwing. They don't want to take a month off from throwing. They got to build their arm strength to where when they come into camp, it's not like the first day of throwing in a month. So it's twofold. Then study the playbook. They got the iPad. They'll be able to watch anything and everything we want to give them. So it's some study, a lot of work on getting in tremendous shape, and then make sure your arm's ready to go.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, with Shelby, was there any complications to the procedure he had? Did you anticipate that he would be able to participate this offseason?
No, there was no complications. The procedure he had necessitated that he couldn't basically sweat and work out for a few weeks afterwards. And then, so we're just slowly building him back.
And then at the running back position with Melvin, Javante, I mean, will it be a true running back competition, or does Melvin, after what he did last year, is he pretty much the guy?
Well, I think there's enough work to be had for everybody if everybody proves they're worthy. And I think you have to throw Mike Boone in that when you talk about that position too. All 3 of them just need to come back. We'll carve a role for them. Obviously Melvin is an established back in this league, played good for us last year, and we like him. We obviously like Williams too, and we like Boone. Okay, so you never have enough backs, and I'm confident there'll be enough work for all of them.
As a reminder, please be mindful of your fellow journalists. We want to make sure that we get to as many questions as possible, so be mindful when you're asking your follow-ups. Let's go Jeff Legwalt, followed by Troy Rank. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Vic, I apologize if you were asked this. Are you going to have your 3rd practice tomorrow, or did you give them a day off?
No, we're practicing tomorrow.
Okay. And then when you look at it, can you just sort of outline how you would, when you sit down later, how you'll grade these practices for the quarterbacks or any position under competition? What do you take from OTAs and minicamp?
To me, OTAs, especially when you have a new quarterback such as Teddy coming in, and really didn't start working with us until OTAs. You know, big part of this is just getting him comfortable with the offense, introducing it to him. Obviously, coaches and everybody else likes to evaluate every day, but to me, the big evaluation will come more in camp, where there'll be, you know, we've toned down the pass rush here to where bodies are around them, you know, and see how they operate within the pocket with bodies around them. And then obviously the preseason games, you know, so to me, I mean, if you're going to put a percentage on it, the evaluation and comparing the two, you know, is 2 to 3% these last few weeks. The rest, the 97, 98% of it is yet to come.
Let's go Troy and then Zach. Go ahead, Troy.
Coach, how do you think Teddy and Drew have handled this quarterback thing? Like internally, you see them way more than we do, because this can be a drama fest. Guys can get competitive. It can get weird. How have they handled it? What have you seen from those two?
They've been good. You know, I've not spent a lot of time in their meetings, but some time. And obviously I see them on the field. I'm back there all the time. Everything's functioning very well. I mean, there's no animosity or competitive spirit. There's a competitive good spirit, but nothing negative. So I don't see any problems with that as of yet.
Was there any talk of not going with the sweatshirt during the record high heat, Coach?
No, no. It hides my gut a little bit.
Let's go Zach and then Brandon. Go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Coach, thanks for talking with us. What are the major strides you've seen from Jerry Jeudy from last year to this year?
Well, I just see a more mature wide receiver, both in his approach, you know, in everything off the field, meetings, preparation. And I see the same. I see a more mature, confident wide receiver on the practice field. And I think it goes back to, you know, some of it back to what happened between the 15th and 16th game last year, you know, where he had a bad game and was able to come back with a good game. I think that was a big moment in his career, and I think it's catapulting him into where he's at right now.
If you no longer have a question, can you please lower your hand? We've got time for a couple more. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, Vic, how do you spend the month, 5 weeks before camp? I know you're obviously in here before your players. And how do you want your coaches to spend it? I mean, do you want guys completely away from football? Or, I mean, coaches, I imagine, probably still think about it a lot. And do you have real vacation plans?
Yeah, I've got a vacation plan. It's nothing major, just a bunch of little ones, and centered around my son getting married in July. So that will take up a week to 10 days of my time. Yeah, we want the coaches to get away, but you know, in this day and age with iPads that I'm sure they'll take, you know, you'll spend some free time doing stuff. You know, me personally, I'm going to be on, you know, about 6 plane rides during the break and plan on doing work on the plane with the computer, plan on doing work wherever I'm at when I have downtime. So we want everybody to get recharged, get refreshed, but, you know, I'm sure they'll all be thinking about it and doing some stuff along the way.
Let's go final 3. We'll go George, Ryan, and Cody. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Vic, you said your son's getting married. Are you guys doing anything for Father's Day this weekend?
No, since he's getting married July 3rd, I'm going to go back there, you know, about a week before then, and they'll have to give me my gift a week late. I'm not holding my breath on anything being a gift.
Right. I wanted to ask you about Mike Boone. I know you mentioned him a little bit earlier. What's maybe stood out about him so far in the few weeks that you've gotten to see him play?
Yeah, he's quick. He's decisive. He can run. He's a great guy, you know, great teammate, works hard. Obviously, George knew him well from Minnesota, and he's not disappointed in any way. Really happy we have him. I think he's a very capable running back. We think he'll make a strong contribution to the special teams, and really, really happy to have him. He's solid.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Vic, one more on the quarterbacks. Do you and Pat and Mike have like a schedule where you sort of want to have one name before that second preseason game? Or are you going to treat the third preseason game like the usual final tune-up?
Well, I think that will be remain to be determined as to what we'll do with the third preseason game. But as far as the work preceding that, it's just going to be 50-50 somehow, some way. There may be days where one of them gets more work than the other. Then the next day, the other guy will get the more work. Some days will be 50-50, some will be 60-40. We like to work it that way. But in the final analysis, it'll be pretty damn equal in the work and the opportunities.
Thanks.
Cody, finish us off.
Hey, Coach, thanks for meeting with us today. Just a question with the Broncos defensive backfield right now. You got Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons back. Obviously, the rookie safeties drafted in. How might PJ Locke and Trey Marshall play a little bit of a role this upcoming season?
Well, we hope that they can play any of those safeties that become backup safeties. And you're not limited to only having two. If it's warranted, you can have three. They'll carve a good role in the special teams, just like Trey and PJ did last year. And anybody else that's in that role has to be able to do. With the way the NFL offenses are playing these days, you're going to have 5 and 6 DBs out there a good bit. So if they can carve a niche to be one of the upfront players, that helps them. But we're happy with our safety depth.